It's filled with a small army of drought demons who all swarm out and surround him. Inside, the soldiers and the civilians hear the cry of all drought demons that have just been released. They know that the sound is coming from the direction Su Chen left in, and that means their new companion could be in danger. Bei Chang tells Xiaofeng to stay put and guard the civilians while she goes and checks up on the situation, but he refuses. This time, he won't let her go off on her own again. Meanwhile, back with Su Chen, the thug asks if the loud girl with the still swollen face is his classmate. If that's the case, then this is his opportunity to be a hero and save the beauty. All he has to do is kneel down and beg, and the girl will be let go. Su Chen takes a moment to think about the offer, and the snobby girl yells at him to hurry up and kneel down to save her. It's not impossible, but there's just one problem. Fang Qing doesn't even wait for him to say what the problem is, and starts desperately asking why he won't be able to save her. He just said he will save her after all, and it won't be impossible. How could he go back on his word when he's a man? Su Chen tells her that he is definitely a man, but he's not worthy of saving her. Instead of him saving her, he can help her contact those foreign gentlemen she keeps boasting about to see if they're willing to save her. That explains why he's so reluctant to help her. It's because she called him inferior, so he's taking revenge on her by doing this. Well, if he thinks that she'll apologize and beg him to save her, then he is completely wrong. According to her, she doesn't even need him to save her. Su Chen laughs and points out the huge horde of zombies rushing towards her from behind the truck. Hopefully she won't regret her own words in a moment. Fang Qing nervously glances at the zombies that she forgot about in her anger. In her last moments, as the zombies gripped her legs, she screamed for help and begged for Su Chen to save her. It seems like she was wrong after all. As the zombies tear her apart, she screams at the top of her lungs for him to save her, but it's already too late. After the screams die down, the Bureau of Evolution officer laughs at how insane the situation was. It seems like Su Chen truly is a terrible person who can't even help another in a dire situation. But that's alright since he'll be joining her soon. Then he tells our protagonist that he will now show off the technology of the Federal Bureau of Evolution. He pulls out a jar of powder and rubs it on his face. All he has to do is apply this powder to himself, and monsters will obediently listen to anything he says. That's because the powder is actually the ashes of dead drought demons. Once anyone applies it to themselves, that makes the zombies think that that person is one of them. That causes the man to pause and take a look at the bowl in his hands in fear. It seems like he didn't even know that he had been rubbing his face in monster ashes. The man rushes to spit out any powder that might have gotten in his mouth, and he's disgusted by the thought that he had been rubbing monster powder on his body the entire time. Now he's mad, and he orders the monsters to tear him to shreds. They growl and rush at him with their claws out and their teeth bared. Su Chen wastes no time and summons a pair of katana from his personal storage, then rushes through the crowd of zombies, slicing them all into bits in less than a second. He finishes them off so fast that he's standing right in front of the truck before the man is even done coughing. The bureau official turns around and sees his opponent casually staring up at him, looking completely unbothered. There were still several zombies swarming him from behind, and his two soldier allies arrived just in time to see him about to be surrounded. The bureau official orders the zombies to attack again, but none of the zombies move. Su Chen pats the dust off his shirt and tells the man not to bother shouting. It's pointless since no matter how much he screams his lungs off, the zombies won't do anything. The man from the bureau asks what he means by that, and his questions are answered as all the zombies spontaneously fall to pieces behind him all at once. The man has no idea how that was even possible. Su Chen doesn't answer him and instead uses his power to teleport behind the man and grabs him by the neck. He never wanted anything to do with the Federal Bureau of Evolution, so he asks who exactly ordered the man to come and kill him. If he doesn't give up his master, then Su Chen has no reason to spare his worthless life. Our protagonist pulls on the man's metal mask while smirking down at him. The man starts to scream as the pressure becomes too much for him to take, and in an instant, Su Chen rips his head right off of his shoulders, with the bottom still connected to his spinal cord. Bei King is shocked that he resolved the seemingly impossible situation in an instant. It's similar to before, and this sort of power is not something that can be achieved through training alone. This guy must be some kind of monster. Su Chen is more frustrated by the fact that he had to use so much force against these small fries. From now on, he's going to have to show more restraint against people before things get troublesome for him. If only he had a capable assistant that he could work with, then everything would be easier. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, Duanya is startled awake by a sudden dream. Once again, she had a dream about Su Chen, and she can't seem to get him out of her mind. Why hasn't he returned to her yet? A loud voice comes from outside the room, and she jumps in fear for a moment. Then she remembers Su Chen's words about who he needs close to him. Whoever he keeps by his side must be useful to him, and if they are useless, then he will not take care of them. The remainder of Su Chen's words motivates Duanya to pick up a gun from the cupboard and face her fears head-on. She's determined to become his right-hand man no matter what, and to do that, she needs to be able to take care of herself. The former cook pushes her way into one of the study rooms in the suite, armed with 2 pistols and a mean poker face. Even with all that, though, there's no one in the room, despite the fact that she's sure that the voices came from there. Another growl sounds behind her, and she turns around just in time to see that one of the drought demons had snuck up behind her. The zombie walks menacingly towards her and pushes her back against a table in the room. She has no idea where it came from or how it even got behind her, but there was nowhere for her to go now that she's been backed up to the table. Her only hope now is the gun that she swiped from the room before she stepped out to fight. Before she can use it, the drought demon slaps it out of her hand and sends it flying behind the table. Then it shrieks at her, opening its mouth wide to attack the former chef. With no other way to defend herself, she shuts her eyes and prepares for the worst. But luckily for her, the zombie misses his attack completely and instead bites into a chair beside her. She has no idea what's going on or what this guy is doing, but it seems like she's safe for now. He has been sniffing around this entire time, and it looks like the eyes on his face are gone. Maybe he actually can't see anything, and he's relying on his sense of smell to find her. She somehow got lucky this time, but now he's way too close. If she makes any sound, he's going to attack her right away. She turns and notices that the gun is still on the table, just at the edge, away from her reach. She turns and tries to stealthily grab the gun while the zombie is still unaware of where she is. She stretches her hand just a little more, but the gun still stays out of her reach, and before she can grab it, it's already too late. Her back bumps into the zombie's arm, alerting him of her presence. It screams at her as it's about to attack, and just then, memories of Su Chen's words flood her mind. He told her that his resources are limited, so he can't keep her around just because she's pretty. She has to find a crystal core in a monster's head that will give her abilities similar to the ones he has. If she can't do that, then he won't allow useless people to stay around him. That thought triggers a reaction out of her, and she goes on the offensive before the zombie can take her out. With the heel of her shoe, she stabs her leg straight into the zombie's eye so hard that the other side pops out at the back of his head. The zombie stops moving, and she tries to pull her leg back, but it suddenly grabs her ankle, forcing her to stab its face a few more times before it finally falls to the ground. Then she grabs an axe from elsewhere in the room. It's a shame that Su Chen wasn't here to see her proving that she's not useless, but now she can check to see if it has a crystal core in its head. Back at the engineering university, Bai Chang and Lu Xiaofeng took Su Chen's advice and started organizing the students to evacuate. Bai Chang even contacted her brother Bai Ming and asked him to bring his troops to join them and ensure the students' safety. With that taken care of, Su Chen returns to the snake in the school's reptile laboratory and continues to pay special attention to it. After a time has passed, the creature starts its mutation and begins to grow in size. Su Chen watches it with interest, wondering just how far it can mutate, and the creature stares right back at him in contempt. To help with its growth, Su Chen even prepared a large bucket of water for it so it could grow faster. As soon as he drops the water bucket on the ground, the snake slithers in. It seems like it already knows that it needs to get into the water to complete its mutation, which saves him the trouble of trying to force it in. As soon as its body touches the water, it starts to grow into a large and terrifying beast, with a dragon head and a large, scaly body. Su Chen watches as it violently beats against the sides of the bucket, until finally the bucket explodes, spreading the water all over the room and revealing the evolved form of the former snake. It had such massive growth from just the initial mutation, and all of this came from a simple bucket of water. If he had decided to wait until the flood came, then this would have been a much greater disaster. Now that the beast has grown up, Su Chen summons one of his swords and makes it an offer. If it chooses to submit to him, then he might consider keeping it as a pet. The monster is having none of that and tries to escape through the window before Su Chen can catch it. It looks like it really did develop some intelligence and knows that it won't be able to properly fight against Su Chen, especially in that closed-off room. It breaks through the window, out into the campus courtyard, and Su Chen jumps out right behind it. Then it tries to slither away and save itself, but it's not even close to fast enough to escape the sword of our protagonist. Su Chen drops from the sky and stabs the sword onto the creature's scaly skin, but to his surprise, the sword snaps in half. It looks like the scales are much harder than he thought. The snake turns and roars at Su Chen, and he realizes that if blades don't work on it, then he's just going to have to use his fists to smash it to death. He delivers the first punch to the beast's head, sending it crashing to the ground, but it retaliates by wrapping its body around him, trying to choke him out by entangling him. But Su Chen realizes that the attack is actually just a feint, and the creature's true goal is completely different. It opens its wide-fanged mouth and prepares to bite down on our protagonist. Meanwhile, back with the survivors, Bai Chang can't help but look towards the campus. Her brother notices her constantly staring back and teases her about not wanting to part with the handsome man named Su Chen. She tells him that if he doesn't speak, no one will treat him like a mute, and it's obvious that she wants him to stop talking. That catches Bai Ming's attention, and he realizes that his sister must really like this guy. But that doesn't change the fact that if he stays on campus, then he's doomed. Bai Kang is sure that he won't die. From the moment that she first saw Su Chen, she felt that he was very strong. He had a deep gaze and a mysterious aura about him, which made him look like a monster. Because of this, she's sure that he will survive, and they will definitely meet again. Meanwhile, Su Chen easily breaks out from the snake's strap and grips it by the throat. There's no way such an easy thing would be able to trap him when he has grown so strong. He uses his foot to push down on the snake's body and frees himself while the snake struggles to free itself from his grip. He has heard that snakes have highly developed nerves, so even if he chops its head off, it should still be able to bite. So instead of ripping its head off, he rips the entire snake in half along the middle, making sure that it will never be able to bite again. And in the remains, he picks up the crystal, and he's eager to see what kind of ability it will give him. Eventually, the heavy rains start, and just like Su Chen warned, the city begins to flood. If the extreme heat manages to destroy people's will, then the flood sweeping through the entire world will completely destroy human civilization. Even inland cities like Chengdu could not escape the massive, devastating flood, and everything ended up being swept underwater. The engineering university's low terrain left only tall buildings like the administrative building above water. Meanwhile, Su Chen is also not safe from the rising floodwaters, and gets immersed in the water. Thankfully, after absorbing the Golden King Snake's core, it grants him the ability to move and breathe freely underwater. Because of that, his body has undergone even more changes and has become stronger. After coming in contact with the water, his body developed tiny scales, and his strength improved massive amounts. On top of that, his eyes have become more sensitive to light, and a protective membrane has formed in front of them. Even though he's not using his nose or mouth to breathe, he isn't suffocating underwater, and it feels like he's breathing through his skin. All of these are abilities that he borrowed from the Golden King Snake. Although it's not a water manipulation ability, being able to breathe underwater is still very beneficial for him. The floodwaters surged from the Green City Hotel area, so swimming upstream against the current is impossible. The current is fierce, and the debris in the water is like hidden debris. All of this is hindering him from making it back home to the hotel suite. On top of that, it seems like the volcanic eruption has reached its peak, but because Chengdu is far from the volcano, the sky looks relatively clear. When the massive amount of volcanic ash fills the air and blocks out the sun, the doomsday winter won't be far off. In the face of all these apocalyptic events, human civilization might as well no longer exist. To avoid becoming prey to the creatures evolving through the crisis, it's better to grow stronger and become more powerful so that you can better protect yourself. In his previous life, after the Great Flood, Chengdu saw several powerful factions grow over time. The low-level northern part of the city was occupied by the Golden King Snake and the female Corpse King. The southern part of the city became the gathering place for the cannibalistic tribe of the Devourer clan. The western part of the city was controlled by the Rat King and his army of rats, while the eastern part was occupied by the Skull Crusher Gao Qiang and Hell's Chef, Duan Ya. In his previous life, Su Chen almost died multiple times at their hands. However, in this life, he has already dealt with Gao Qiang and the Golden King Snake ahead of time. In order for him to stay strong, the best method is to get the remaining crystal cores for himself. However, the Devourer clan has a large population and numerous factions. On top of that, the female Corpse King is elusive, which makes it nearly impossible for him to find her now. In his previous life, the University of Technology had experienced a rat plague, which means that the Rat King should be there. All he has to do is find it in advance so he can get its crystal core with minimal effort. A few sounds from underwater break him from his thoughts. It seems like he has relaxed for too long, and multiple underwater creatures have ended up surrounding him. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the flooded city, two men hang on for dear life against the raging floodwaters. They desperately wonder how a flood broke out from the middle of nowhere. As they're clinging onto the tower, they notice someone rapidly swimming towards them. Anyone in the water should be as good as dead, but it looks like whoever that is has a lot of energy in them to be swimming that fast. It's not just that either. They also recognize the man speeding towards them. It's Su Chen, the guy that the Bureau had sent them to watch over. If it wasn't for him, then they wouldn't be stuck here in the flood. If he dares to join them up in the tower, they'll kick him right back into the water. One of the men notices that Su Chen is moving really fast for someone that is barely surviving in the floodwaters, and on top of that, it seems like someone is following him. Behind the man swimming like he owns the sea, there are multiple sea zombies sprinting through the water behind him. Despite that, Su Chen is swimming faster than them, against the rising current of the water. He continues getting closer to the men, and they shout warnings at him not to come any closer. Our protagonist recognizes them as people from the Federal Bureau of Evolution, and he's surprised that his influence has already spread that far. That's perfect for him since he can get information out of them in this situation. Our man leaps out of the water onto the tower and uses one of the men as a stepping stone to get to the top. The man loses his grip and falls off the tower towards the zombie-infested waters below. Just before he can meet his wet end, his companion just barely manages to catch him by his arm and save him from death. But now, with the extra weight on one person, the two don't have a lot of time left to survive, and at this rate, they will both end up falling into the water. The first man reassures his friend that he will definitely pull him up, but it's pointless, and if he doesn't let go, then they will both definitely die. Su Chen takes the opportunity to ask them to tell him everything they know about the Federal Bureau of Evolution. The men refuse to speak up and warn Su Chen that even if they die, there will be others to avenge them. If that's the fate they've chosen, then they can't blame him for what happens next. One of the zombies manages to latch onto the bigger man's foot and pull him into the water. His companion screams and dives in after, prepared to die with his friend. That turns out to be the wrong move, and they are both left at the mercy of the hundreds of creatures in the water. When all hope seems lost, Su Chen dives into the water and uses a sword to slice through all the zombies that were about to attack them. In a second, they are saved, and all the zombies are dead. The man wonders if Su Chen really is human since he seems to be way too strong. Regardless of the circumstances, though, they owe him one for saving them. They decide to tell him what they know. They tell him that they were sent by the Federal Bureau of Evolution to monitor him. The Bureau is located in the Science and Technology University, and it's led by Chief Liu and a team of researchers. They were just doing what they were told and following orders that came from above them. In Su Chen's last life, the rat disaster happened at the Science and Technology University, and it seems like there is a connection between the rat disaster and the Federal Bureau of Evolution. He asks them if they research rats in the university's labs, but only researchers are allowed into the labs, so they don't know much about what goes on inside. Su Chen realizes that no matter what, he has to go and investigate the situation before the rat disaster starts. Meanwhile, Duan Ya, who is still in the Green City Hotel, had luckily obtained a crystal core from the zombie's head. After swallowing it, she starts to feel the same burning sensation that Su Chen felt when he first evolved. She wonders if she has succeeded and what powers this will unlock for her. But at the same time, she notices that the water has flooded all the way to the top floor. Inside that water, several small tentacles circle around her feet, ready to attack. By the time she notices the swarming tentacles, the monster has already wrapped itself around her body, lifting her off the floor and wrapping itself around her. It's slimy and gross, and with the way it ties around her, there's almost no way she can escape. Suddenly, the tentacle beast raises its mouth to her face and roars at her, revealing a throat filled with hundreds of razor-sharp teeth. It lunges at her, and she barely manages to catch it in her hands and stop it from biting into her. But the creature wraps itself around her hands, further stopping her from moving. More of them burst out from the water, and before she can think, she's completely entangled and surrounded by dozens of them. They all attacked so fast that she didn't even have enough time to get used to her new abilities. Her mind drifts back to Su Chen, and she remembers when he first showed her his space manipulation powers. He told her that as long as she finds and consumes a crystal nucleus, then she can obtain its ability. But because many monsters look ordinary, she won't always be able to tell what power a monster has just by their appearance. The best way for her to figure out her ability when she doesn't know what it is would be to feel it in her body and in the environment. Once she gains new abilities, she will be able to feel every change and then try to master and control it. She focuses on the environment, and eventually she's able to feel the change in her body. She can see the little brains of the monsters that are attacking her, and she uses her new power to yell out a command, forcing them to stop moving. The tentacles listen to her command, and all of them fall limp at once as if they had all just died. That leaves her free, but still covered in sticky goo. Now that they are all immobilized, she picks up her axe and cuts through all of them in an instant, turning them into minced meat. By the time she's done, she's covered in monster guts and slime, so she decides to take a bath. A voice behind her asks if he can join, and she turns around, ready to fight off another intruder. However, it's just Su Chen, and it looked like he had seen her take down all those monster eels by herself. He's impressed by the fact that she managed to even grab a weapon for protection. Duan Ya rushes towards him and grabs him in a hug, just happy to see him again. He has been gone for so long that she has started to get worried that he will never come back. The reunion is short-lived, though, when she realizes that he's naked again for some reason. She pushes herself away from him and asks why they keep meeting while he's undressed, and he tells her that the water was dirty, so he took all his clothes off. The two of them go to take that bath together, and for the first time in several days, Su-chen gets to relax. After being gone for so long, he realizes that only when you go out do you realize that home really is the best place to be. Duanya gets up from the bath and goes behind him to give him a massage while they both relax. With the mood a lot calmer than when he had first arrived, he asks her whether she managed to awaken an ability. He didn't see her use her ability directly, but he could feel that something had changed in her due to the temperature of her mouth. She asks him how he even knows what kind of temperature could be in her mouth, but he ignores her and again asks if she managed to awaken an ability. She tells him that it seems to be some kind of mind control ability, and Su-chen already has an idea of what her ability might be. He asks her if her mind control ability can be used on food, and she tells him that she doesn't know since she hasn't gotten enough time to practice first. She decides to practice by testing out her ability on him, and uses it to make him think that she's wearing a revealing gown. But she immediately notices that Su-chen has immense mental power. If it weren't for Su-chen's consent, then she might have collapsed as soon as she tried to influence him. Regardless of his abilities, he's still impressed by her ability. It's a good one, and as a reward, he'll make her practice more until her legs grow weak. She laughs as the two have fun all through the night. By the next morning, Su-chen teaches her how to hold and use a gun, and they both use it to take out the remaining tentacle monsters. He tells her to focus her mind and control it with her thoughts. Then all she has to do is set her aim and fire. Duanya appreciates the lesson, but she also remembers that they plan to go to the University of Technology, so she's confused as to why he's suddenly teaching her how to shoot. He tells her that he's giving her half a day to familiarize herself with her abilities and her shooting skills. Since she's from the medical university, then for this next adventure, she will follow him and show her usefulness. The couple travel through the floodwaters in a speedboat. For some reason, Su-chen has asked Duanya to wear a bunny outfit while they travel. She asks if it's really all right for her to wear something like that outside, but he tells her that it's fine since in the apocalypse, even if she doesn't wear anything, no one can do anything about it. She asks him if he has ever been to the Science and Technology University before, and he has once. He came to see a friend and now wonders if he survived. Duanya assures him that good people usually have good fortune, and because of that, he shouldn't worry about it. After a little bit more traveling, they arrive at the university. It has completely been transformed to withstand the apocalypse. Suddenly he notices something odd and grabs Duanya to protect her, right as someone rains down bullets on their boat. The man stops firing for a moment to ask what they are doing there and why they came. This is the Science and Technology University where the mutant Rat King rose last time. He can't tell them that he's here to investigate that, so instead, he lies that he came to join the Federal Bureau of Evolution. The man doesn't care, and he's more interested in the bunny girl with him. He offers to open the gate for her if she spends the night with him, and Su-chen goes home. So they pull out their trump card and offer up some braised pork in exchange for him opening the gate for them. The sight of the food changes his attitude immediately, and he orders the others to open the gate as fast as they can since he hasn't seen meat in ages. They park the boat by the side, and the guard orders that they give him the pork as soon as they get off. He orders his partner to take them inside while he takes the food for himself. While they argue, he doesn't notice the devious smirk on both Su-chen and Duanya's faces. He selfishly takes the pork for himself, not realizing that he's eating an entire monster's hand that has been charmed by Duanya's power. Thanks to the fake pork that they give him, he agrees to let them in and send Su-chen to the lab later. The other guard has a much friendlier attitude and leads them to the main base, where other people lay looking tired and hungry. The lower levels are for the elderly, the children, and some lowlifes, so he offers to take them upstairs to find a clean room. As they're talking, a kid walks up to them, and she seems to not be able to walk properly. She apologizes and tells them that she's just feeling a little bit dizzy. Duanya notices that she looks weak from hunger and asks her where her parents are. She tells the bunny girl that they went to find food and haven't been back since, so Duanya offers her a piece of bread to hold her off for now. The kid initially doesn't accept it because she's worried that her bunny sister will go hungry if she takes part of her food. Duanya tries to assure her that she won't be hungry if she accepts just a single piece of bread, but the kid still doesn't believe her. So Su-chen shows off one of the banquet tables of food and promises that as long as she's his woman, then she will never grow hungry. The kid is impressed and offers to be his woman as well, but Duan shoves a slice of bread in her mouth to keep her shut and stop her from saying unnecessary things. The smell of food attracts some thugs towards them, and they kick the lowlifes away to reach the banquet of food. Hoarding food is against the rules in this makeshift society, and all materials must be handed over first in exchange for contribution points. The angry men scare the young girl, and she clings to Duanya for comfort. She tells the girl not to be afraid, and tells her that she will try to talk to them. Then she looks to Su-chen for confirmation before getting up to summon another banquet table of food for the men to eat. Her eyes glow with malicious intent as she tells them to eat the meal to their heart's content. Clearly something is wrong with the food, but it looks so delicious that the men cannot resist. They all push each other to be the first to get a taste of the meat, and the food is so good that they almost cry tears of joy. Because of this, they tell Duanya that they will reward her later for bringing them all this good food. But they won't let Su Chen go off so easily. He is a newcomer who broke the rules, so they have to punish him. And they decide to do so by bringing out two people who look feral. The punishment is a life or death duel where he has to kill the two people or be killed by them. Su Chen recognizes them as the two brothers he met on the tower while swimming through the city. The girl also recognizes them as her brothers who went out looking for food and never came back. She starts crying and angrily yells for the men to let her go, but Duanya holds her back from charging at them recklessly. Because of Su Chen's intervention, the men failed their last mission and couldn't come up with enough contribution points to aid their society. So because of that, they've been sentenced to death. However, killing them just like that would be a waste, so they drugged them and kept them around for fun. Since both Su Chen and the girl know the brothers, the thugs come up with a new rule. If our protagonist loses, then they will throw the two brothers into the river along with their little sister. The two brothers seem to be in some sort of frenzied state, probably caused by some sort of drug. They've been bound by heavy chains and collars around their necks, and it looks like they don't even recognize him. The thugs yell for them to start fighting, and they release the brothers from their chains, sending them charging straight at Su Chen, ready to attack. The fight ends as soon as it starts, as Su Chen knocks them both out with a slap to the first man's face and a chop to the other man's neck. They drop to the floor immediately, and the little girl tries to rush to them thinking they're dead, but Duanya holds her back and reassures her that they are fine. The thugs, however, are not so pleased that the fight ended so quickly. They wanted more of a spectacle, especially after they had wasted 2 doses of their special medicine. He decides to forget about it and continues to threaten Su Chen, telling our protagonist that since they are in a good mood, if he drops all his supplies, then they'll pretend that this incident never happened. Su Chen asks why exactly he should give up his supplies, and they tell him that he must be new there. Anyone entering the Science and Technology University must follow the boss's rules to keep things in order and weed off any freeloaders. They don't support freeloaders in their camp, and if he wants to stay there, then he needs to earn contribution points by handing over resources or finding supplies. In this camp, contribution points must be similar to what money used to be, and just like in the real world, it only benefits those who make the rules. Su Chen agrees to their terms and tells them that their last bit of food has already been eaten by them, so they don't have anything left to give. Then a large man appears and offers Su Chen some contribution points in exchange for working for him. The larger man's presence immediately causes the thugs who are acting high and mighty to quiver in fear. They call him Captain Guo, and it looks like he's the leader of the camp. He rides in on a giant chair carried by multiple slaves while a scared-looking woman rests between his legs. He offers them free meals and accommodation along with high salary positions, and all they have to do is make sure to be loyal to him and work hard. As he's talking, one of the slaves trips and falls to the ground. Captain Guo wastes no time and stabs a knife-tipped spear through the fallen slave's chest, killing him immediately. He tells Su Chen that they are short on people, and he's just in time to replace the slave that's no longer useful. The bunny girl, especially, can be given unlimited meals and good living accommodations if she decides to work for him. As he talks, he grabs the woman laying against his lap and plays with her body. He reminds them that it's the apocalypse now, and industrial production has ceased. By giving them this offer, he's making a big sacrifice for them. On top of that, he's already bored of the people he's been using so far, and they are due for replacement. The other thugs yell at Su Chen to accept the offer immediately. When their great boss needs a new woman, he'll let the others have fun with the old ones. Their boss, however, has other concerns apart from the new workers he needs. He smells something among the thugs and asks them what they have been eating. In their rush to get the food that Duanya gave them earlier, they forgot that eating meat without the boss's permission is a death sentence. They immediately drop to their feet and beg their boss for forgiveness. In the future, they will definitely give him any food they find first. He tells them to stop their groveling and shut up. He's not interested in any food they've been eating, and just the smell of it is killing him. Did they eat poop or something? What in the world did they find that smells so bad? That catches Su Chen and Duanya off guard. Did he somehow see through Duanya's mental control? It looks like he wasn't even affected at all by it. The thugs tell him that they ate only the food that Su Chen gave them, but with the mental control broken, they immediately realize what they've been eating this entire time. Their stomachs protest the horrible food, and they rush to the bathroom, desperate to push out everything they've been eating. Captain Guo sighs in exasperation and wonders how he ended up surrounded by such idiots. One day, he'll get rid of all of them and bring in people that are actually reliable. Su Chen notices that despite his immunity to Duanya's mental control, he can't sense any abilities from the large boss. Despite that, he gives off a very powerful aura that's noticeable even by him. On top of that, his influence was enough to snap everyone out of Duanya's mental control. He wonders what kind of person Captain Guo is, and just judging by his subordinates, he can't be anything good. Our protagonist is more than strong enough to wipe out the entire camp immediately, but killing them now will only complicate his plans later. First, he needs to find the mutant rats first, then he can take care of the rest. Captain Guo snaps him out of his thoughts and asks our protagonist what he thinks of the slavery offer. Suchen blandly tells the other man that he's not interested, and Captain Guo laughs. He claims that one day Suchen will come begging to him. Then he calls another one of the people in the camp and orders him to take over the front position so he can leave. As he leaves, Captain Guo tells one of the survivors to keep an eye on Duanya. After all, women as hot as her are rare to find,